Hey, this is Chris Thomas here on IntellectualRadio.com. I'm with my co-hosts, Denora.
Hello.
And Dom.
Hi, how's it going?
Thank y'all for being here. Appreciate it. This is Principles of Passion, episode 1. Reason I'm here is I do a community working with a couple of nonprofits that are really helping out in terms of bringing students into the market fresh. I think that the consensus I have is that there's a lot of students, though, that are lacking that passion. And in being in staffing for, I'm aging myself a little bit right now, my 9th year, almost 10th year in staffing. Right now I work for a company ranked number 10 on the Forbes list. And my boy over here, Dom, he also works for a very reputable technology consulting firm. What brought us together, though, me and Dom, is in working for these nonprofits, which is my passion. I got a chance to meet Dom as my mentee, and he's actually graduating tomorrow.
Yep, tomorrow's a big.
Congratulations to him. And with Denora, how did we meet?
11 years ago, I did the count. So I'm aging myself right now, too. Wow. 11 years ago in college, psychology, we were both majoring in psychology. I was double majoring in human resource development. And that's pretty much how we met. And then after that, you were my neighbor, ironically enough.
This is my business spiritual guru is what I call it. We're always having different conversations about how life sucks, how we've messed up, how we're gonna get better and make things better. And so, in talking with these students, I hear that a lot, that they don't know how to find their passion. I hear that with a lot of people, though, too. Like, they may be passionate about a movie. They may be passionate about their favorite restaurant, their favorite food. But are you passionate about something that's going to inspire you? Something that's going to inspire other people, or even take it so far as to make money from that inspiration. I think we as a population lose sight of that a lot. And so what I wanted to do here is, have an open forum. Again, I'm on the Leadership Council at Year Up. And I talk with a lot of those students, and direction. That's all. We need to empower them. We need to give them a direction. This guy here got that direction, got converted on full time, right, recently, and you're going to be graduating. So, I think it starts with building that passion and building that vision. And so, we want to have this open forum. This is our first episode, again, of Principles of Passion here on IntellectualRadio.com. Let me kind of tell you my story. Actually, let me let you two intro yourselves a little bit. Tell them what you do.
Okay.
And how we came to meet. We kind of mentioned that a little bit, but what do you do?
So currently I'm an entrepreneur. Okay. I am a dental consultant. The whole entrepreneur. I jumped on that bandwagon. Sure did. And I've been actually an entrepreneur for more than 6 years already as an independent contractor. I consult for small businesses. I do focus on dentistry just because I've been in the industry for 20 years, aging myself again. And so I do that currently. And that was all driven by passion. It literally fell on my lap. I was just so good at what I did because I was driven by passion, and people saw that in me, that people were just requesting me at the time, not as much now. So if you want to request me, they were just requesting me. And I just decided to just start my own business in it. Currently, I'm taking a little bit of a break, but I'm jumping back in the game.
And that's a big reason I think that her and I connected back when I was getting my degree, is that she's always been a very passionate person.
Thank you.
And always not let other people affect kind of how she drives that passion. She's taking control of it. And it's hard for some people to do that given your situation, your circumstance and whatnot. So we've been drawn to each other, I think, since that point. So thank you for sharing.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, so for me, it was kind of along the same lines. I got into computer forensics. That's what I do right now. It didn't start like that, though. For me, it started back at Moraine Valley. I did 2 years of community college. Just I wanted to do forensic pathology. So it was like a nice start. And then along the lines, I started to mature and realize I don't think that was the right field for me. So I got into psychology, around a little with that, but I still knew I wanted to help as like, I'd say that was my passion, just to always want to help and progress, but like get to a bigger crowd. And I started with psychology. I didn't stick with it because for me, it was just like, I like doing it to help people. And that was just my passion, just to help people.
Right.
And I got out of that. I found Europe, where I met you, Chris. That was awesome. First person who told me how to write things down, and been doing it today. And then from there, it was just Europe gave me this chance, the opportunity to show my worth, and I stuck with it, and I ended up in computer forensics. So with that being said, it's kind of crazy how everything does a 360 too.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. That's great. So I've failed in my life a lot of times. I've been an idiot a lot of times. I've never been a bad. I never stole nothing. I never tried to hurt. I may have hurt some feelings. You know what I'm saying? But I screwed up a lot in my life. And I think a huge turning point in my life was 2008. I got a DUI. And then within 3 or 4 months of that, I got caught with some marijuana. And so I was facing 2 convictions. Luckily, the DUI ended up getting dropped. In all honesty, and people say this, I should have been, free anyway from the beginning. The officer ended up getting suspended for falsifying police reports. So wow. I don't think I was drunk enough to get a DUI, but I obviously shouldn't have been driving, right? I was drinking, I was driving. It was enough for him to bring something up. Yeah. The other one, all me. I have to take full responsibility for it. I got caught with marijuana, and so at that point in my life, like sitting in the jail cell in those 2 separate instances, and it was one night each. So I wasn't, again, there's people that sit in there a while for things they didn't do. So I want to be respectful of that. But it was 2 of the longest nights of my life because I didn't have anything to fall back on. I had gotten out of the Marines. I tried to start 2 businesses that failed. I was working as a caregiver, basically, at a child care providing service and also helping with the elderly side of the house. I had my personal training certificate. So I was doing all these little things, but I didn't have anything stable to fall back on. And that's what scared me sitting there. And so I got out and I made a decision, A, to go back and get my degree, but B, to follow my passion. And at that point, I did not know what that passion was. I had no clue. And so I went and did what I really thought that I wanted to be good at. And that was understanding the way people think, really in adolescence, ages anywhere from 17 to 25, 30. And my girlfriend's 28. I don't want to hear no R. Kelly comments. Shut up. So I had to really try and find out what age group I felt needed the most help and where I could really help with that. And so I went back, I got my degree in psychology, minor in philosophy and Spanish from Northeastern Illinois University here in Chicago. And then after that, a buddy of mine, Mick Zadecki, if you're out there, appreciate it, my man. He offered me a job, man, at a staffing firm that was startup mode. And I had a felony on my record. I had just got my degree. Had I not gotten the degree, I would not have gotten this job. And I told him I would go and work for free. Literally, it was commission only. So for 3 or 4 months, I almost claimed bankruptcy. If it weren't for my parents, I would have claimed bankruptcy for sure. But for 3 or 4 months, I busted my butt, starting out as an admin, sitting at the desk. Then I moved into a recruiter because I was learning finance, accounting, HR, how to recruit. Then I started to learn IT recruiting. But this is all learning staffing, learning corporate America, finding out I'm going to have a son in that interim. Do you know what I mean? And continuing to follow my passion, which was to bust my butt and get good at something. And so it was tough. I think the toughest part was facing the unknown, right? But having confidence and just pushing through.
I guess that was my question. I mean, to interject, how did you push through that after the whole felony charges and so forth? Some people kind of stay stuck and go in circles with that. How did you come out of that and say, you know what, it was a mistake and let me just keep it going?
You know, I had to change the way that I thought about life.
Okay.
More than just what I did, I had to change the way I was thinking about things. Anyone can go and be passionate about going and hanging out with your friends, going and having a drink. Anyone can be passionate about wanting to go on a vacation and all that. Can you be passionate about something that's going to allow you to make a sustainable income? And can you do it legally? Okay. Especially with the family. Can you do it? So I had to find something that I could do that with. We're on Intellectual Radio. We're in deep conversation here, IntellectualRadio.com. This is Principles of Passion. I'm here with Denora and Dom. I'm Chris Thomas. So we're talking about passion and really kind of what drives people to that passion and how do you find that passion if you've lost it. With my story, it took me. Did I answer your question?
You did. Yeah, you did.
Can I answer better?
Yeah, please. I mean, it's your show.
You're funny.
Of course I am.
You have to want it. You have to keep going. And in the words of Eric Thomas, one of my idols as it comes to mentor speaking and coaching, you have to want it as much as you want to breathe.
Yes.
And so I just wanted to be successful, right? I didn't come with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I also didn't grow up on the south side of Chicago. My dad lived there.
Yeah.
I was there quite often. I grew up lucky. I grew up in Oak Park since 5th grade. So I saw the struggles there, and then I came back here and I'm like, why are people struggling out there? Why are they not struggling here? Right. So that's a big reason that brings me here too, is it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. And I think that there's opportunities to make a difference with that. And I think it takes speaking openly, and being able to just talk in a workplace environment. That's kind of the tone I want to set here, right? You're not at home, but you're not out with your friends. Say what you want to. I got to keep my job. I'm just saying. I'm being honest. So be honest, but realize that this is an opportunity to share in a workplace environment. We're not talking religion, right? Mm-hmm. I'm talking about workplace environment. Right. So keep that in mind. So listen, back to struggling and grinding to move into a recruiter role. Mm-hmm. This is my second or third year in. I'm at like 75K, maybe even 80K that year, right? Decent, right? But I'm like, what the heck? Mm-hmm. So we end up losing my boy Mick. He goes out to New York, right? Right when he leaves, I say, listen, I feel like I could step up and take the manager role, right? I had worked hard. I didn't feel like I was entitled to it, but I felt like I wanted to earn it. So they let me do it. I took over as manager, ended up changing the title director. I had a team of 6 here, and then indirectly, I think 3 or 4 at any given point out in California. And it was cool, man. It was really cool helping my 2 partners try and build a company. It taught me a lot. I left there my last year, 2016, I W-2'd 190 on paper. And I was like, yeah, that's great money-wise, but something was missing. And I didn't know what it was. But as I started to explore other opportunities, I found out I wasn't fulfilling my philanthropic duties. I wasn't able to go and give back to help out. And they weren't really not trying to let me. It was just like kind of me running the perm team and someone else running the contract team. And, there wasn't those opportunities. We didn't have as much of a platform. And so I jumped over to the company I'm at now. Again, ranked number 10 on the Forbes list, top recruiting firms. I've learned a lot there. and I've done it on a bigger platform, and I followed my passion to being able to go and volunteer at organizations like Year Up and I See Stars, which are both, nonprofits doing a world of difference in the community. I've been invited on the boards of both. I didn't go and ask to be on the board. I was just volunteering. I was just following my passion. And people saw that and said, hey, we'd like you to get on these boards. And so that's kind of what brings us here today, is that I speak to every graduating class of Year Up, and the students are always having a ton of questions at the end. And I just don't ever feel like I'm able to answer all of them, and I feel bad for it. So I wanted to kind of bring this little powwow session together and just start talking about topics that I think can influence people, I think can help people, I think can change people, and I think that they can allow them to really cultivate that passion or follow that already cultivating passion. So again, we're on IntellectualRadio.com. This is Principles of Passion. I'm Chris Thomas. This is my co-host, Nora.
That was nice.
And my boy Dom.
What up?
So I'm gonna make this disclaimer. I'm gonna read it verbatim. The thoughts and ideas discussed in this podcast are in no way meant to be a representation of the thoughts and views of our current or past employers. This is merely an open discussion about putting your passion first. So we want to be open. I got a job, you got a job, and you got a job.
And we want
So
to keep
we
it.
want to keep them. We want to keep them. So we want to be respectful. Blah, blah, blah. We want to be respectful of that. I think that that's really important. As we talk about things openly, I think it's hard to do that sometimes. So
it is. It's very transparent.
So every day is a good day. And if you don't think every day is a good day, try missing one, right? That's a quote from Cavett Robert. So he's the founder of the National Speakers Association. You got to wake up in a good mood first.
But does that always happen, realistically speaking? I mean, today was not a good day for me. I woke up not feeling the best and not motivated, because you have your moments. And I think I had enough self-awareness to say, okay, and it's the cliche of saying it's just one bad day, not one bad year. So I'm just like, okay, Denora, you just got to keep pushing through it. You just got to keep pushing through it. It's going to be okay. Don't let your emotions affect your money. Don't let your emotions overtake that. And passion, I read the word behind passion. I was like, what is passion? Like, what's the definition? And it is emotional. It's based on emotion. And if your emotion's out of whack, then your passion is going to be out of whack, obviously. Right. But yeah, today I didn't wake up at the best mood, and I'm just like, I have to push through it. I have to come to the radio, but I have to push through it. So what would you suggest for that? Or have you pushed through it? It's
interesting. Yeah. Well, I'll let you go ahead. Why don't you go ahead, Dom?
So to answer that, there's always, it's always subjective for the person, like how they push through it. I'm always a big thinker. I got a lot of race through my mind at all times. So to me, it's always like I have this big plate. How am I going to hit it all? But the way I do it is just like life in increments. So I read when Chris came in, he had a slide and it was talking about like 25 like little things that could really impact the whole day. And, making your bed, for example, that gives you the little bit of energy that says like, okay, I made this. I got enough in me to get out of bed. Let me get on with the day.
I agree.
So I'd say that was a good example. And then just like I said before, just life in increments. You do have a lot on your plate at all times, but if you take it in little bits and divide it up, it might not be as bad.
He has a good point, and I'm going to jump on that really quick because I always do. But that is true. I think one of the mistakes I've did in my whole life was I always raced and tried to do things in big chunks and got really nowhere. But when I started doing exactly what you mentioned, just increments, just little by little, just piece by piece, and being patient, which is the hardest thing in the world, then it kind of came together, but it just took a little bit longer. Hence why I can't cook. So, so I'm with you on that. You just have to be patient, not watch the pot boil, and just.
Exactly. And, eventually life just all falls into place.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's true.
Yeah, no, it's I think there can be a lot of moving pieces. I think that if you don't have a goal in mind and you don't have a plan to get to that goal, it's very, very difficult. And not a I want to have a yacht and have a second house in 20 years, but how about I want to get to work on time every day this week?
Ooh.
Do you know what I mean? Ooh.
I've been working on it.
But I mean, just little things. Break it down into little goals, but set goals and be disciplined with them. Do you know what I mean? That's hard. That word discipline or persistence.
I guess how do you I mean, you were in the Marine Force, so I think that kind of helped you out a little bit about like disciplines and goals and so forth. How about those that haven't? Like, how do they, let's say no one really ever taught them, how do you get them to refocus and create that discipline, especially for the younger crowd?
I think I might be able to answer that.
Awesome. Even better.
I was very disciplined as a child, but I was also very rebellious. So you told me not to do something, I would do it. I think it just came a point when inside of me personally, I was just like, all right, I really have to get with the program and find my path and my passion. And I just had to teach myself that discipline. So it comes with willpower.
Awesome.
It comes with your endurance. It comes with the crowd of people you choose as well. It's like all those are big factors on your disciplinary, like how you turn out as a person, where you go in the world. So I'd say for the people who haven't had that, it's just the big part of it is mindfulness and self-awareness.
I agree. That's good.
Coming from the kid. Let's go. Let's go.
This guy is not his age.
He's wise,
okay, not to put a stigma on age, but he's not. He's like this guru.
Old soul, for sure.
I'm getting his autograph now.
No, real talk. And what I wanted to do too, again, I mentioned speaking at Year Up to every graduating class. I've done it for the past 2 years, almost 2.5 years. And I try and break it down simply for them into a few select principles of passion that you can use within the workplace as you try and navigate. Again, they don't know what that passion is. They don't know what that discipline is yet. And when I say I'm speaking to underrepresented students that have not had an opportunity yet to be within corporate America. Okay. So don't get the terminology confused with any other theys. Thank you. Rant over. So my secrets of success, at least for me, again, I've done some wrong. All right. I've had to climb out of some stupid mistakes that I've made. All right. And I think we all can if we have the right mentality. Number one, do the right thing. That's got to be up to you what that is, right? Because this is not a religious-based show. I'm sorry. There's people out there that aren't religious. I need to reach those people too. So I'm just being honest. I'm not trying to go and convert everyone. I'm just trying to get through to everyone so that we can all talk on the same page. That's it.
Great.
Do the right thing, right? Attitude is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let your emotions get the best of you. Believe in yourself. Set goals, stay organized. 85% of all jobs are filled by networking.
Yes.
Diligence is the father of persistence. I made that one up myself. If you don't have an education, you better have a craft or a lot of money. And even if you have all three, nothing in life is guaranteed. And be elite. Ooh. So again, this is IntellectualRadio.com, Principles of Passion. I'm Chris Thomas. These are my co-hosts, Denora and Dom. I think that these are topics that need to be discussed more, not via sitting at home talking with people you're comfortable with, right? Yes. But being able to have these conversations in the workplace, in a place of business, and to be able to talk about each of these principles and how they can help you uncover your passion, find your passion, cultivate your passion. Whatever it is you're trying to do to better yourself in life, I want it to help you. And so what I'll do is I'll start with the first one. You know what? Let's go ahead and take a break. Again, we're here on IntellectualRadio.com. This is Principles of Passion. We'll be right back. So we're back here on IntellectualRadio.com. Principles of Passion, episode 1. What we're trying to do is inspire people. Again, I work with, first of all, on the staffing side, I talk with probably about 150 people a week, whether it be via email, via phone call. And on the philanthropic side, I talk with probably about 20 mentees a week. And what I found is that a lot of people have a hard time in the workplace. And we could take it outside of the workplace at some point. I really want to stick to a certain demographic. I think that there's a certain demographic that is missing a key component within their lives. And that's that passion, right? Because they have not had an entryway into the workforce or into corporate America. They don't have the resources.
True.
They are overcoming different barriers. And so it's tough. It's very tough. It's tough for people that are aged, that have families trying to do that, find their passion.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a really good topic to speak openly about, respectfully. Again, we want to keep it workplace friendly. I have a job, you have a job, you have a job. We want to keep our jobs. Don't come trying to blast me out on this phone because I will embarrass you.
Oh my God.
Just saying. We want to keep our jobs, but we also want to have an open enough forum that people can feel free to call in, to message in. Instagram, your passion first, your passion 1ST. Follow me. We want people to be able to share their stories and talk openly about issues that they're facing and trying to help them find that passion. So we went through what I feel are my principles of passion. I'm going to try and get through all these today in a snapshot. And then over the course of the next few months here, I'd like to really dive into each one of these as it relates to the workplace. And even as it relates to your life, let's try and keep it to work if we can. Sure. But there's a lot of intertwining there too. So we want to be cognizant of that. So the first one, do the right thing regardless of religion, race, nationality, or gender. All people are created equal. So Martin Luther King said, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy.
Good.
What do you think when you hear that? The quote.
Thanks for starting with me. Well, it's tough to say because I was actually going to go into more of when it comes to passion, how it's based on great leadership and just what you believe within yourself. And that's kind of what, along the lines of this, like, it doesn't matter what you believe, what race, it's just as the individual, what do you believe? And just drive on that. Right. And for me, in the workplace setting, great leadership can either kill your passion or it can motivate it and uplift it.
Right.
So that's where that balance comes from. When you're true to yourself, then you can recognize that and say, you know what, this boss or this teacher or whoever is just really not feeding my passion. Right. So again, it goes back to forget about your race and everything else. Who are you as a person will be able to be a detector of which direction you should go and who you should follow so you can keep feeding your passion.
Right. No, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So if I'm understanding you correctly, and I'll get to you two down for sure, is make sure that you are staying true to your passion.
Yes.
And that will help you judge which way is the right way to go to a certain extent.
Yeah, because I will tell you right now, I haven't been the luckiest when it came to leadership. Let me rephrase that. I have became the luckiest because I had bad leadership in my life.
Okay.
I had really, not the greatest boss, not the greatest teachers. And I kind of, out of habit and out of just routine, I kept looking for those bad leaders because that's all I knew until I learned within myself to become a great leader for others and I was a bad leader for a very long time. So I'm really sorry for those who were my employees before.
Conversations.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. Publicly. I was really, because I thought it was just, being the tough boss, like, no, you're fired. No, you're fired. Because that was my job at one point, was just to fire people for a living.
Right.
Fly across and fire people. The point being is that due to the fact that I had these bad leadership, because I really never had a mentor, I just really believed everything they said about me. Denora, you're too passionate. Denora, you're too emotional in the sense of like, you really don't put your heart so much into it. Like, who says that?
Yeah.
So I wasn't self-assured and I wasn't confident within myself and I didn't know who I was. So I ended up believing it and following it. It took a really bad hardship for me in my life that I lost everything to rebuild and regain myself in my 30s when I was doing the best I can ever be doing. And I lost everything. That'll be another story. But I think at the end of the day, it was due to bad leadership really taught me to be a better leader and show other people how to tap into their passion and be true to themselves.
Awesome. You sure you can follow that up now?
Hi.
Probably not, but I come close.
He definitely can.
So the way I'd go about answering that is I would just say I definitely agree with it 100%. And just to elaborate a little more in the workplace, how you started it, Chris, with the quote, it's at the end of the day, we're all human. We're all searching for something. We're all trying to do something. And specifically in the workplace, it's a community energy. And it's like, it only takes one person's energy to really throw everything in a slump. So I would say, like, at the end of the day, we're all humans. The best way to get through it is to just treat everyone on that level of equality and just find common interest. Everyone has a common interest. It could be from, I'm all over the place. I watch anime, but I listen to like crazy rap music. So I'm all over the place. So I would definitely say that's a big part of it.
Find that common interest with people.
And bond from that. That's good.
Awesome.
And then even from that, you could, usually helps to like blossom because it's all about networking too. And you never know where that can take you next. That person might help you on your path to your passion.
Right.
He has a positive outlook. If you notice that, because the first thing he said was like, oh, you're going to find the common interest and you build from that. So that's, definitely a positive outlook.
Yeah.
I'll follow that.
It's one of being able to work through challenges.
Yes, exactly.
You want to compromise for sure. Good. So we'll go on to the next one. Attitude is everything.
Ooh.
Whew. Ooh. I know my attitude.
I don't know. I'll talk about that's another podcast in itself too. Okay.
I'm hot-headed.
A couple times.
Aries over here.
Passionate people are. Passionate people are. Oh, that's a hard one, Chris. I don't know if you want to tap on that.
So Maya Angelou said, if you don't like something, change it. And if you can't change it, change your attitude. I feel that there's a lot of people out there that have that negative outlook on life and look at everything so pessimistically. That can be good if you're a skeptic, right? But if you can't see through to the positive, that's when I feel it becomes detrimental to you. I feel like it would be easier versus being a skeptic or a pessimist to just be positive, right? Just look at the situation with what can I get and what can this person get out of this the best way, and work from there and then work backwards, right? How can we synergize first and then work away from our differences? Let's not look for differences right away and try and separate. You know what I mean? Let's look for the similarities, like you said, right? In the workplace, look for similarities in people and then create synergy. And so that when there are disagreements, you've already kind of created that bond a little bit. You didn't start right away with the separation.
Exactly.
So I think we do that, though, by having a positive attitude right off the bat,
It's hard in the workplace, though, because part of my job and working in organizations is having a group of 30 people, and I have oh my God, did my math wrong there? But I have like 30, let's say like 20 people who just have like a bad attitude, and then like the 10 that are actually like, they want the change. So going back to what you said, I do find a common interest with them, but some of them just doesn't work out. I can't change their mindset, and it's affecting the collective. It's affecting everybody. So what I do is I focus on the 10. sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
And with that, some of the other ones they come to the light. They come over, but it's really hard. That quote in itself, not everyone can change their mindset. People like us, maybe.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Instead of, and this is just
Go for
hypothetically,
it. Yeah.
instead of trying to change the 10 that are good,
Mhm.
have you ever tried finding the bad seed that's bad and changing that one?
I've been the fixer all my life.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, and this is what I've learned during my career, is they have to kind of come to you. Not everyone wants to get fixed because not everyone thinks they're broken.
Right.
So sometimes when a team member comes up to me, I'm like, hey, and the way I approach it's always like, how is it going to be better for you? And in the long term, even outside of this organization, I want you to be a better person because I'm just like Dom. Like, I love helping people in general, but I also have to know that this is my job too. I can't put too much emotion. I have to keep the balance. But yeah, I just pretty much tap into how, I don't know, I just let them come to me. Yeah. I learned that that's a better approach because no one likes to be forced.
Right.
No one likes to be told what to do.
Right.
At the end of the day.
Right. What about you? Anything to comment on that? I don't feel forced to, man. I'm just trying to
he's
keep
forcing
it going
you.
around.
Yeah.
Change your attitude. No pressure.
No, it just kind of goes back to what you said right off the bat. In some corporations, they try to find the differences, and right off the bat, that's going to start tension.
Yes.
When it shouldn't be that way, it should be the complete opposite. When you find the common interest, and like you said, how there's just those bad ones who sometimes don't, for lack of better words, don't want to conform to the good side. But
True.
In that case, it's just
gotta let them be.
Yeah. Sometimes they might be going through an external crisis, and
he's a better human than I am.
It does. Yeah, it's just the benefit of the doubt sometimes.
That's true. They might be going through something, It's only human.
But
it's true.
At the end of the day, they're also part of the community, and they play their part. So sometimes it's like they might not be the best, and they might weigh the energy down, but there's a part of them that does feel welcomed in there.
Yeah.
Good point.
Awesome, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
So again, we are here on IntellectualRadio.com. This is Principles of Passion. I'm Chris Thomas. These are my co-hosts, Denora and Dominic. We're talking about just that, principles of passion and how people follow their passion, how we interact in the workplace, and how those relationships can help guide our passion as well. We're going to go through the rest of these principles, and then again, we'll do a quick recap, and then next week, we'll start with one of these. Open for comments on where you guys want to start with these. I kind of have one in mind, but I'm open. I'm not saying I'm going to go with what you say. I'm just saying I'm open. I'm open. So moving on to the next one. Don't let your emotions get the best of you.
Ooh, yeah.
You will never win, right?
Yes. Definitely.
Passion, as you mentioned earlier, is that emotional state, right? You got to control your passion, though. Don't let them control you, right? You got to guide your passion. Yep. And if you don't have it, you got to cultivate it. I didn't just get hired on as manager there. Yeah. I guided myself to that by working hard and busting my butt, and then going and get something that I thought that I could achieve and believing in myself. Yeah. And so I have a very tough time with this. I've gotten a lot better with it over the past, 3 to 5 years. With my son's mother, I love her because she is the mother of my son, but man, I'll leave it at that. Emotional states have been heightened. But we've learned to work through it. Luckily, I have a supportive girlfriend that deals with what I have to deal with, and it's my son, so I'll fight till the end for him. Sorry, got a little teary-eyed. Let me get back to my emotions.
Draw him out.
No, but again, don't let your emotions.
Don't let your emotions get the best of you, Chris. What I mean? Let's stay focused.
So, another quote I really like is a quote from someone I really had a chance to get to know over a couple of months while working with her before she moved on. But Patty Bogosh, expert in the staffing industry, she was helping me get ready for the speech the first time I gave it over at Year Up.
Nice.
And we were kind of talking about emotions. And she said, emotional intelligence is a way to positively manipulate your energy.
Ooh.
And it stuck with me.
I
love it. I love it. I
It's really
appreciate her
good.
for that. And, other guidance
Sure.
she's given me. But the full description or definition of emotional intelligence is your ability to recognize and understand emotions in yourself and others, and your ability to use this awareness to manage your behavior and relationships.
Okay.
It's crucial in the workplace, right? You can't be so focused in your own zone.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think?
I mean, that's a good one there.
This is water, people. It's water. It's water.
I mean, going back to don't let your emotions take the best of you and emotional intelligence, I almost feel like that should be a criteria in colleges and school and high school, is really learning self again first. For example, my story, I became I went from being a receptionist to being this big regional manager. Didn't have any background in management. They just put me in this high power position. And I was like, well, in my world, it was a high power position. I didn't know what I was doing. So I did cause a lot of damage because I didn't know how to contain my emotions and I wasn't self-aware. Again, back to what I was saying earlier. So that being said, you really have to take the time to study yourself. And that does take time, and I hate taking my time with things like that. I hate it at the moment, especially when you're digging through the bad and the grungy of yourself. You're like, oh, do I have to really face that today? I'm leaving that one for tomorrow. Yep. All right, that's gonna be in tomorrow's checklist. So when you have to really look at the ugly part of yourself and just come to terms, you know what, I was kind of a witch, I wasn't nice to this person and I wasn't considerate, because at the end of the day, in a work environment, you have to be able to balance and be fair and just. I had people, as you mentioned, they had some problems at home. I can't give them any special favors because it's just not to the rest. Right. But we can work on something and compromise. All right, let's figure out a plan and let's compromise. I do that negotiation, but it took years of being a bad manager to learn that. But I have to say, yeah, so emotional intelligence for sure. Yeah. And self-awareness.
Yeah, being self-aware.
Yeah.
Cool. We got about 10 minutes left here. So if I fly through these, again, we're going to go through all of these in depth, probably in more depth than some of y'all want.
But he has a book and a dictionary and encyclopedia that still exists.
Listen, get your Britannica face.
You just aged yourself. I'm just kidding. He's like, what is that?
You know what a Britannica is?
He's like, is that a country?
It's an encyclopedia.
No, you really don't know.
No, that's definitely
no, it's not a Wikipedia.
Like an atlas, like one of them things. I don't even know anymore. That's threw me off. I was thinking of 7 Deadly Sins.
It's exactly like a Wikipedia.
Yeah,
on paper.
It's not on the internet.
In a book.
You had to actually buy shelves for this type of stuff. You had to make a room for it in your house.
That's funny. That is funny.
That was embarrassing.
A little bit.
Publicly.
Again, IntellectualRadio.com. We're really trying to have fun with this. We want to be real.
Sure.
We want to also get to the root cause, though, of something that I think a lot of companies are facing is they can't retain people because people aren't passionate about what they're doing. So how do you instill that at a young age if people don't have the right resources and capabilities to overcome their barriers? And so we just wanted to have this opportunity to talk through some of these things. I don't know what number we're on, but we're going to get through all of them. When all else fails, believe in yourself.
Ooh.
The will to win, the desire to succeed, the urge to reach your full potential. These are keys that will unlock the door to your full potential. Confucius. Yeah,
just like
saying the same thing over there, Confucius. I'm saying I like it, though. I like it.
Very nice.
Another one, a great one by Nelson Mandela. I never lose. I either win or learn.
Yes, that's a deep one. I'll take, yeah.
I mean, he's special individual. Absolutely. Churchill. Success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm.
That's the hardest,
man, bro.
I would think that's the hardest to keep up with your passion after
you've messed up.
That's been the story for the past 20 years.
And you know what? But you're still doing it.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to take a break. Sometimes it's okay to step back and take a break and kind of reassess and reinvent. And I'm going to chime in on that a little. And I think that's what happens to a lot of corporations that I help establish is that or that are established, is that they're still stuck on the same thing over and over and over and repeating the same mistakes instead of evolving and reinventing themselves. So I'm like, you're failing again, and you're failing again. So when are we going to stop this and reinvent yourself? Stop taking it so hard. And they kind of stay in that mode.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that is a comfort mode.
Yes.
Hey, this is what got us here. Let's keep doing it. Well, what got you here isn't what's going to get you where you're trying to go. You know, you got to, along the way, you got to bob and weave. You got to make adjustments. You got to fine tune. And then you got to reassess, like you said, and reinvent sometimes.
And that's part of like the whole consulting thing for me is they always blame the staff members or they blame everybody in the outskirts, the patients, the staff members. But I'm like, no, it's actually you. Yeah. Look within, accept the failures, and now let's get going through the change. So I'm almost a therapist before I'm a consultant, if anything. It's a lot of hours. They call me at midnight sometimes. I'm in charge.
So I mean, there's a lot of things you can do to believe in yourself too.
Yeah.
I won't go through all these, but be kind and generous. Know your principles and live by them. Yeah. Dress nicely. Groom yourself. Kill negative thoughts. The list could go on. Okay. The important thing is to, I think, do things that are gonna make you better.
Yeah.
Do things that are gonna make you feel better. If you don't feel good about your weight, go work out. I know it's hard. I know it sucks. If you don't feel good about the people you're hanging out with, go find more people to hang out with.
That's true.
If you don't like the job you're doing, find something else that you're passionate about, right? And it's not that simple, but if you commit to it, then you'll do it.
Yeah, be patient through the process.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Set goals. You know, life doesn't piece itself together. You know, I thought it did for a while. I thought I would just network and boom, 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 and things would just tee themselves up, right?
Yeah.
What I found is if I have a goal in mind, that will happen a million times faster.
Sure.
Things will start to fall in place because you're putting yourself around the right people, at the right place, you know, at the right time, you know, and that takes, though, having those goals set, you know, and really being able to set stepping stones to get to those, and you're going to fall off. You may fall down the stairs once.
Oh, Lord.
Get back up. The goal is still up there at the top. You know what I mean?
So I have to ask, so like, how do you set goals then? Like you personally, do you write them down concrete so they're like in sight, or do you just keep them in your head?
And she asked me this actually the other day. I do both.
Okay.
Daily and weekly goals I do on Office, and I just set calendar invites.
Nice.
My memory is not that good, so I make sure that I do things so that I don't have to remember.
Okay.
It's automated. So in my notes page on my phone, anything I want to remember or set a goal for that week, I put it in there. And then in terms of long-term goals, I keep those more in my head, but I know for sure what they are. They're goals that that are driving my passion. But then I try and break them down. And at work with our system, I have to break it down. So it makes it easier to break it down day by day.
What about you? How do you set your goals?
For me, like I said, when Chris came and he told me that one time that he writes his stuff down, I was like, okay, let me give it a try.
Let me try this paper and pencil thing.
Yeah, whatever this
What's this encyclopedia?
That's funny. That's funny how the new age of kids, like they don't write. And like I don't
like to write.
I'm not trying to age myself, but I'm saying
you're like
like a little bit of poet. I write.
He looked like he would be a poet though.
That's good.
We go say I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, that's it. I usually just write my So it's like everything. Like I just usually write it down the second it comes to mind. So it's like even if I do forget about it, it's still written on paper, and I could always go back and be like, I remember I wrote that. There was a part of me that wanted to do that, and my thing is, it's like the principles of passion. You could have more than one passion.
Ooh, that's
absolutely you can. Absolutely. What
one.
You have to be careful about, though, I feel, is the more passions you have, the harder it's going to be to get great at any one. So if your goal isn't to get great at them,
guilty as charged.
If you're cool with that, if you just are passionate about it, do it. But if your goal is to be elite at one of these, then you got to watch what, like, I love baseball, right?
Yes.
I sucked at baseball in high school. I went away to play free agent spring training. I still sucked after looking at those guys. I got one chance sitting on a bench somewhere, and I didn't make it in the game in a professional league. You know what I'm saying? But I was super passionate about that. And so I played men's league for 11 years. You know, once I had my son, I changed over and started working with him, you know, but I think you have to balance.
For sure.
Of course. I had to find a career versus finding something that was going to be a dream forever. You know what I mean?
Yes, I get you.
But don't you think that passion was kind of seeped over to what you're doing now, like just as spilled over to what you're doing right now, in the sense of like it taught you the discipline, staying focused, and even when you fail. So it's kind of, it was like a learning school. I don't know. That's how I look at it. Absolutely. I feel like we learn all differently. Maybe,
I definitely learned from it. And I think we'll go back into some of those stories as we get in. I think let's fly through. We got about 4 minutes left.
Oh, no pressure.
Staying organized. We will go deep into this one because I think this is huge. I'll list a couple of them. Every day, 3 most important tasks. Write them down every day. That's something so simple that you can do. What are your 3 most important tasks? And do them. Easy. Choose a ubiquitous capture device, something that you keep everything on to keep all of your info on. iCloud these days, you can have it on your phone, your computer, and your iPad.
Or this thing you guys keep calling paper.
or a piece of paper.
It's powerful. It's a powerful thing. It's been around for a while.
Right? Staying organized means you have to be able to deal with change.
Oh, yeah, I love change.
So be cognizant of that. So the next couple that we have, networking, I'm going to leave it at that. Let's keep it at that for now. I think we'll get to that. And I think we'll talk about how I network, how we can network better. And we'll get into some neat topics. Denora is a great networker, knows a lot of people in the dental industry. So next principle, diligence is the father of persistence. Success is failing 9 times and getting up 10.
Isn't that a Cardi B song?
John Bon Jovi, by the way. John Bon Jovi.
Isn't that Cardi B? Sorry, I had to bring it up.
So, you know, there's a lot I can say on that. I'll leave it for now with the last quote of that one from Richard Branson. If you're hurt, lick your wounds and get up again. If you've given it your absolute best, it's time to move forward.
Yes.
Okay. The last one, elite. Be better than the best. That's a tough one. We'll get into that one too. So again, we're here on IntellectualRadio.com. This is Principles of Passion, episode 1. I really want to help folks cultivate their passion, especially underrepresented students that are having a difficult time making it into the job market, but even folks that have lost their way. And so I wanted to start this open conversation to help us talk through some things that have hindered us in the workplace. How do we get through them? And how can we look at each other as the same? We're all humans here. Let's be that. I got a surprise for y'all coming up next week. Something that has guided me to my passion a little bit more. Life-changing event. I hope y'all tune in. Again, Principles of Passion. We're here on IntellectualRadio.com. I'm Chris Thomas. These are my co-hosts, Denora and Dominic.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us. Holla back.